Hey everybody, welcome to My Green Pets. I'm William Green. This is my orchid collection. I think at this point you can safely say it's a Cattleya collection. There are a few bulbos, there are a few catasetums, a couple other things, but for the most part, this is now officially a Cattleya collection. And I wanted to show you guys, look what came this week. Seedlings from Peruflora. So there's actually 3 groups of them. So these two, this was actually 4 flasks that I opened up. They were actually plastic bags that were sealed. I opened them up and I didn't pull them apart too much. I washed off as much of the nutrient medium that I could, and now I'm just kind of letting them sit in these pots. Just trying to do more or less what I did with my Cattleya seedlings and then some other seedlings that I got in the fall. I put the Cattleya seedlings in sphagnum, and I'm not real happy with that. I don't really like it. And I put some of them just in pots by themselves without any medium, and those are doing okay. And I like that I can see the roots, see how the roots are growing, and see, if there's any issues. I don't like how the sphagnum gets all nasty on top there. So that's why I decided not to put them in anything. And I'm just going to spray them frequently, a couple times a day. Watch them carefully. And yeah, there are supposed to be 5 different varieties of Cattleya rex in here. There's supposed to be a semi-alba, Rosita, Ayacucho, Splash, and Flammea, and one more, I think. So the thing is, they are very, very small, and I don't know which ones are which. So I've just got to try to grow them all out, and hopefully when they start blooming in about 7 years, they will surprise me. Now this group, these are all the same ones. This is a splash, 2 splash varieties. That means they have yellow splashes on the petals. And it looks like these actually got some kind of cold damage in the male. Cold or hot or something, some kind of damage, because these top leaves have just died. If you go deeper in, there's still plenty of green growth, and I'm hoping that for the most part they're going to be okay. They'll just be maybe set back a little bit, or they'll need to set off a side growth. But I'm not sure why these got damaged and the other ones didn't. But anyway, this is what $350 worth of seedlings from Peruflora orchids in Peru looks like. And of course, the people that participated in the auction, you guys funded this effort, so my very appreciative. Thank you so much for that support. And I hope that, in a few years, I'll be able to share with you some of the best and most amazing varieties of Cattleya rex that you simply just don't see here in the United States. It's just not available. Some people have a couple plants, but it's not available. Seedlings are pretty tough. I say it a lot, but these were just tied to a deer antler and have started to grow and produce roots. There's one back here as well. You can see they're just happy as can be. Look at the root down there as it goes all the way down. So I'm not, I'd rather keep them a little too dry than too wet. I don't want any fungus issues to start. Hopefully we got that under control in the tent here. Well, last week I showed you Cattleya rex in full bloom, 4 beautiful flowers. And those are all gone now. You can see they've fallen off. They've lasted about 14 days. This is the last one. It's starting to fold up. So it was nice while it lasted. Here's Hal down here. Hal bulbophyllum. And Hal has been blooming non-stop for well over a year. However, I am a little kind of questioning what's going on over here. He's been dropping leaves lately. And I'm not sure if it's because the fan kind of blows this way. Maybe his medium's a little bit dry. bulbs are slightly wrinkled, but not too bad. So, I'm not quite sure, but definitely he is. Of course, those are really old leaves. Those leaves are at least 4 years old. So, I mean, I guess it would make sense that he would drop them eventually, but just keeping an eye on how. I really should unpot him and check out his roots and everything, but I don't want to. I just don't want to right now. This is Bulbophyllum crocium. I got several little just cut divisions of this in January, and it seems to be growing. You see lots of new leaves there. That's really exciting. Hopefully that will bloom for us next winter. And then right next to it is Bulbophyllum cattenulatum. You can see the leaves are slightly different there on the right. And you can see lots of little bloom spikes that have popped up and dried up already. Alright, so back to Cattleya rex. So this plant, I took it to AOS judging, and they said it was not awardable. And the reason was because the sepal, this dorsal sepal here, see how in profile, see how far back it goes? So the AOS is, from what I understand, they're not really keen on awarding plants to do this, even if it's a species. They want this sepal to be up like this. Because when they look at the flower, and of course these are folded up because it's, you know, closing up, but when they look at the flower, they want the flower to be spread out as much as possible, but flat in a way. So they want this sepal up, they want these petals out, they want these sepals out, and they want it to look like a big circle, basically, with sepals, petals, all in a big, nice circle. So that's not what we had there. And so they said, and what I thought was most interesting was if I had taken the plant, let's say 3 days after it opened, the flower wouldn't have been open this much. It would have looked more like this. And at that time, it may have received an award. So what I thought was really interesting was that it's not a question of the quality of the flower overall. It's a question of the quality of the flower according to AOS standards on a given day, which I guess seems kind of obvious, but it didn't, I guess it just didn't occur to me that like a flower could be awardable when it was still opening, but then once it's fully open, it's no longer awardable, because I don't know, I feel like it gives it doesn't give kind of a misleading picture of what the flower actually looks like. The flower actually looks like this. When it's fully open, that dorsal sepal is back. So I think it's funny that, you know, if this had just not been completely open yet, the plant might have been awardable. The flower might have been awardable. So anyway, so there's that. That was a good experience. And now I know what to look for in future Cattleyas. When they bloom, I can maybe have a better eye and say, okay, this looks like it could get awarded. Now this plant does have a couple of other sheaths. However, if you'll notice, I don't see anything growing up in this sheath. That might change, but normally Cattleya rex has already got buds halfway up the sheath when it's this developed, when the growth is that developed. So I don't know if that's going to try to bloom later or if it's not going to bloom at all. So here's another one that's in the same situation. And look, there are buds in the sheath. Looks like maybe 3 in there. Ooh, hopefully more. But you can see that the top of the bulb is pushed out of the leaf sheath, and the leaf is completely emerged, and that bud is right there. Whereas this one, it's in the same situation, but there's nothing in the sheath, so they might be empty. Not sure. So that's what we're looking at now. We've got several sheaths, but will they have buds in them? That's the big question. This one, again, looks like it might be an empty one. This one I would really hope is going to bloom. That one's still got some time to show us if it's going to bloom or not. Same with this one. We can't quite see yet if it's going to bloom. This one here, look at this. I don't see any buds in there. They could be hiding at the very bottom, but don't see them. So that's been an interesting lesson too, and it makes me wonder, okay, is there an issue? Wait, let me show you one more. you can see this one's got buds in the bottom. You can see all that sap. Isn't that crazy? Call that happy sap. Now normally, I believe in nature, there would be ants that would be taking all that sugar, water, all that liquid off. There would be insects kind of swarming on that, and I'm guessing that that insect activity would keep any pest insects from eating the sheath or eating the flowers, or it might be a built-in defense mechanism. I don't know. I remember when I grew my plants outside and they got that happy sap all over them, they would be swarming with ants, and the ants don't damage the plants at all, but if I noticed a fly or a grasshopper jump on the plant, the ants would go for it. Get off my plant, that's our stuff. So I wonder if that's not the strategy there. This plant has actually got 2 more growths coming on it. It's a monster. And then this one's just now developing a new leaf. I don't think that one's got a sheath in it. The Cattleya are, these are divisions that are left. I took divisions of all 3 of these guys and auctioned them off, and I kept the oldest bulbs, the back bulbs. Well, except for this one. I sold the back bulbs on this one, and I kept the newest ones. But yeah, so this one I have potted in Synthic. Synthic, a viewer from the UK sent me some Synthic in the mail, and I said, okay, let's try it out. So it was originally potted in Sphagnum. I didn't want to disturb the roots too much, so I just took them out of the pot of Sphagnum and just packed in the Synthic around it. So we'll see what that ends up doing. Signotes Wine Delight. It was two back bulbs. One back bulb completely shriveled up, so I pulled it off last week. And it does seem to have a little nubbin coming out. I'm hoping, really hoping, that this one bulb has enough juice in it to at least get that little growth big enough to start sprouting some roots and making it down into the medium. Once those roots start getting into that medium, this plant will be good to go. And then Mormodia Jumbo World. So you can see it's got some roots around here. These are completely dry, and I'm not watering them until those roots get quite a bit more developed. I want them to be almost down to the bottom of the pot before I think about watering. And the bulbs are still nice and plump, so no issues with that. It's got plenty of reserves. Same with this one, it's got this big old bulb to pull from. Cattleya walkeriana, we kind of haven't heard a lot about Cattleya walkeriana because it refused to bloom for me in the spring or in the late winter, but it does have new growth. Let's see if we can get down here. Yeah, we got a new growth on it down here. Looking good. And then there's a second new growth down here, which is hard to see, but it's in there. And so I was really thinking about auctioning this plant off. I'm still not feeling real great about keeping it, but I might try to double down next winter. I was talking with a viewer last winter about, to absolutely sure it was getting those cold nights and dark, pitch black dark nights. We were talking about me taking it out to the garage and putting it in the trunk of my car every night. And I could have done that. I actually did that with my dendrobium, and it really ended up blooming well, but I didn't do it with this guy, so I might try that next winter. Just pitch black, long nights, cool, cold. Maybe that would spur it into bloom. Sometimes you just kind of have to give the plant a really good stress for it to switch its cycles. I took 2 divisions of RLC Jesse Lee, 2 really nice ones. Those were auctioned off. I kept the back bulbs, and it looks like you can see some new root action, and you can see the new pseudobulb as well growing there. The new leaf is pushing out the top. I potted this one in granite in a clay pot to hopefully keep the air flowing around the roots and letting them dry out real quick. But that's a really strong grower, and I don't expect to see flowers on that new growth, but possibly it'll produce another growth this summer, and that might bloom in the fall. This Cattleya Rex was in a pot. It was just kind of overflowing the air tissue, and I said, alright, well, we need to contain you. So I put it in one of my big, I think that's a 5 or no, that might be a 6-inch Rand's air cone pot with some granite at the bottom to hold it in place. I'm just gonna let it go. Hopefully it'll be a couple years before it climbs out. Got some new roots pushing out there. So let's go through all the actual seedlings that I got. Sorry to just now do this in the video. Kind of taking a lot of time, but that's okay. So seedlings. This is Cattleya Trione AC Barrage. It was awarded in 1939, I believe, maybe 1929. It is a very old Trione and has lovely pink, purple, lavender flowers. And there's an awarded one in the AOS awards books that had like 30-something flowers on it. So it's a very strong grower. I'm really excited about this one. Another seedling I got last year from Carter and Holmes. This is Cattleya Hardiana. You can see it's got a new growth pushing up. Really excited about that. This is Dowiana by Varsavicii, and it's a semi-alba. Really excited about that. Alright, this is a Cattleya Trione. This is a clone, and this is a clone of Cashins, which was an FCC awarded plant. This one next to it, this is Cattleya labiata, and it's a semi-alba. Over here we've got another labiata, Libra by Sherwood Forest. Sherwood Forest has an award of merit from the AOS. Next to this guy we've got Cattleya Trione Henningtons by Maggie's Radiance. So that's a third Trione. I like Trione because it blooms in late winter, so you get all winter, you get the buds developing, and it gives you something to be excited about in the winter time. Alright, next to it we've got another labiata, and that is Sherwood Forest by, I think it says Perola Rojo or something like that. It's maybe supposed to be a rubra variety of labiata. Next to that we got a Mossii. Finally got a Mossii. I really have been wanting one of these. This is from Christofferson. This is R.E. Patterson by Panther Creek, and he's selling these. He's selling bloom-sized divisions of these for well over $100 on eBay. So, and then I think something I'm really excited about are these. There are 4 seedlings from a selfing of Brent Baker's Rogue Orchids, Dowiana Rosita. So there's 1 in this pot, 1 in this pot, and 2 stuffed in this little pot. I'm super excited to have these. I don't think they're for sale anymore, and I don't even know if Rogue Orchids is still selling stuff, but his plants are outstanding, and to just have some of the genetics, I'm really excited and hoping that they will take to life in the tent and join the ranks of my blooming orchids one day. And then just to recap, this was a Cattleya Gaskeliana that I got from Carter and Holmes. I pulled it out of the pot, damaged the roots. There weren't a lot of roots to begin with, so it is currently rootless, but it is putting out a new growth. So I imagine it's going to lose a couple leaves. It's going to be pretty shriveled, but that new growth should still make it to maturity, put out some roots, and then we'll be good to go. Set it back a little bit, but that's okay. Setbacks are part of the experience. Alright, so that is the new My Green Pets. A Cattleya collection with mostly seedlings and a few maturing plants. Oh, one more. One more I'm very excited about is this. Cattleya Jose Marti. A white hybrid. Has its first sheath. No idea if this will bloom. Now this is the type of Cattleya that produces a sheath and then doesn't flower until several months later. So we might have flowers in the fall on this guy. And knowing my collection, it will flower right around Thanksgiving, which is when I often leave to visit family. So that tends to be what my collection does. Blooms when I leave. And then I guess we can look really quick just down here. We got my paths, which don't have a lot to say about. Just hope that they get their act together and start growing well. I have Bulbophyllum medusae. This is the one that I kept. And I have a Lovely Elizabeth as well. Diania ophrydis is all grown up and flowering through the bench here. Where is that flower head? Here it is. You can see there he is, popping out the top. It's a very tall orchid. And then I've got the Phalaenopsis, this enormous Phalaenopsis. I moved it so that the spike doesn't grow up through the grate and make it impossible to move. And I don't know, I want to leave it in the tent as long as possible. One great thing about having a Phalaenopsis like this in the tent is that the heat and humidity in the tent causes the flowers to open up enormous. I mean, just huge. So, not sure if that's what will happen, because I might have to get it out of here before the spike gets too long. The spike on this thing gets ridiculously big. Here we've got a bunch of Bulbophyllum Lovely Elizabeth divisions that I don't know if they are completely healthy. They look healthy, but when I cut the rhizome, there was a red ring, and I need to go ahead and send those to my local extension office. I keep mentioning it, I just haven't done it yet. Hopefully I'll be able to do that soon. And then finally, Phalaenopsis schilleriana. It's been treated with thiamine. I don't know if that's going to kill the infection that it has, but I just can't get rid of it. Can't get rid of it. Until it dies on me, I'm not going to be able to get rid of it. Okay. Now, that's it, guys. That's it for my green pets this week. I appreciate you sticking around, checking everything out. And I just love sharing these plants with you. It's so exciting for me to share new developments, new buds, new roots, new flower spikes, everything. I hope that it gives you a positive boost in your week. I certainly get some replenishing energy just from being in here with the plants, and I hope that somehow transmutes to you too. That's it. You guys have a great week, and we'll see you next week right here on My Green Pets. I'm William Green. Take care.